See if that's any better. Let me take the camera a minute. Camera needed a little bit of a clean. It had fly poop on it. So cam 2 properties. Configure video. Hoping now it's a little bit happier. Hoping the red from the ring light cancels out a bit of what's going on with my headlamp, which I need to see the detail on this. So tomorrow I'll be going on Star Wars The Old Republic, probably. Checking that in a bit. Make sure sure my subscription hasn't run out. Enjoy it before it has the switch over to the new Disney-controlled company. I'm absolutely dreading that. Seems I'm no longer a member of organisations where I was not allowed to hold a public opinion. Now I'm not in it, I'm not obliged by those rules. I'm going to say I'm not actually a fan of what Disney has done to Star Wars. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed parts of The Mandalorian. Not impressed by it. I expected better. I'm not easily impressed. I'm not impressed that they took Boba Fett's storyline and duct taped it onto Bo-Katan. Now, I think Bo-Katan could have been an awesome Mandalore in her own right before Boba Fett himself became Mandalore. Purely on the grounds of she has her own storyline and background. Problem is Bo-Katan hasn't aged since the Clone Wars, and instead of giving her own storyline, they just took it straight out of Legacy of the Force and sticky taped it onto her with duct tape, which just set her up to fail, to be honest. And they could have done so much better. And to me, that was a missed opportunity in option for cheap, sloppy seconds. And it doesn't do justice to any of the actors involved in any of it. And it's a sad thing. Yeah, now I can have my own opinion. I can freely talk about it. And that's not to say that I'm dissing the choice of actors. I'm not really sure that Pascal was the best choice for Din Djarin, but he did alright, in my opinion. It's just a shame that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau kind of forgot this entire thing they wrote called Mandoa. And granted, it was with the help of Karen Travis, big help of Karen Travis, but it's like they completely forgot the Mandalorians have this rule, and it's their second rule, no less. You must speak the language of Mandalore, which is Mandoa. And the only time they added it was because we kept pulling it up at the cons that these guys are supposed to be hardline Death Watch members that follow the rules to an extreme that includes not removing your helmet, and they don't speak a single word of Mandoa. So the only time we hear it, they count to 3 during a sparring contest. I mean, granted, yeah, I get that Mandoa is supposedly a difficult language to learn. So much so that the fans ourselves have been dedicating quite a lot of our time to progressing Mandoa. I mean, there is a group that are trying. Unfortunately, I've been lurking in their server a bit too long rather than getting involved, so I've been removed from that for the time being. I'll get around to rejoining when I have time to actually be able to stay up at silly o'clock in the morning my time. I mean, we're talking 3-4 in the morning my time to join in on their Mandoa lessons in their American time zones. I mean, it's like everyone's forgotten America isn't the only country in the world. There are these annoying things called time zones, and you know, other countries. That's the detailing on white. Need to go change my water and wash my cups, so I'll be back momentarily. found. So I want to find the. What is this? It's a base, but it doesn't tell me what colour it is. So what have we got? We've got gunmetal. That's hiding down in the bottom corner. Flesh wash. Looking for glorious gold. Hell yeah. Okay, so I found where the villager keeps the names these days. Heavy green, not for ages yet. Goblin green, definitely not needed right now. What's this one? Leather brown, nope. Ah, there it is. What's that one? Is that gunmetal? It's flesh wash, I'll need that later. So look if there's silver coloured one. Copper uber wash. Gunmetal. Yeah. So keep those two there, I'll need them in a minute. Let's get some nice clean water into this. Water it down just a little bit. There it is. Is it not in this one then? Where's that grate? Ah, there it is. Let that dry. If I'm not mistaken, these ruins look like they belong to the Chaos Army.
No. It's got the Aquila on it, which means it's actually it's an imperial city or imperial ruins.
You sure they've got demon like Slanesh and that lot as part of the detail here?
That's Aquila.
Okay.
The eagle or and the Imperial Guard or angels.
I'm not quite convinced. That looks more like heads in a horn to me than rather than the usual angel wings I see on the aquilers of the armours. It's easier to see when you've got it under the spotlight. I thought it was the angel wings at first, but I'm not so sure now. Oops. Definitely nothing important on that side right now. So yeah, as I was saying before, I went to be right back because I had to go and do some stuff for my brushes and water. Don't be fooled into thinking that Warhammer and D&D is a boys-only game. There's a lot of us female gamers out here, and we're also into painting minis, assembling armies, playing board games. So don't be fooled by those that would have you think that only guys do this. This is an everybody hobby. Literally an everybody hobby. Anyone can be involved in it. You've just got to like doing this kind of thing, really. If you don't like painting things, there are people out here that quite happily sell our skills to people that might want these painted. Yes, I am, or was, one of those among them. My friend that buy painted is one. I've got another friend up north of me who's another one. Forge World even have their own teams. So there are people out here that will paint them for you, but honestly, don't be scared to paint things badly either. I know the models are sometimes overpriced and expensive. Sorry, Games Workshop, you are. But, you know, half the fun is painting them, and because everything's done in water-based acrylics, it's nothing something like fairy power spray or nail varnish remover doesn't remove anyway. And if you are using these in playing games, you'll find that you're repainting them every so often anyway, as they get chipped and all sorts. Sometimes that can look like cool weathering effects, and you might like it, you might keep it that way, but other times you might think, oh, the colours are fading, or it's not quite how I imagined it to look. And you might decide to repaint it, but your painting skills might get better. And you just don't like how the old stuff looks, and you end up stripping the paint off. And I will say this, in a lot of cases, green stuff is your friend, because you can use a mould line remover all you want. But when you glue them together, glue sure as heck does like to make new mould lines. So you end up having to scrape that off with either a small fine crafting knife, known as a scalpel, or with another mould line remover, or you can get your green stuff and turning it into some weathering. There's always ways around it. Now I like to also base spray my things before I start gluing them together and painting in detail generally. Reason for that is when you do glue it together is the glue binds to the paint and creates a nice already base painted seal for you, although it does depend on what you're gluing. It only really works with plastic. With resin and metal, I would advise assembling most of it first and then using masking tape over the areas that are going to be in contact with glue. You might also want an activating and setting agent for glue as well in the case of resin. I have a lot of trouble with resin, and yet I love working with resin. It's weird.
The models that they've done with resin as well are absolutely gorgeous.
And I'll show you in a minute. I mean, I haven't finished doing the video for YouTube, so it is a bit of a spoiler. The two dreadnoughts we've managed to assemble so far. These are the bases for the dreadnoughts that I'm painting, and this is some of the scenery as well that I'm painting. And I was originally going to do these in a video, but I thought, you know what, nah, let's do a chill stream, and we'll do it on chill streams as well, so you can see it live. And then what I'll do is I'll clip the streams at a later time and add them to the video as clips. To let this gold evaporate a little bit. It's turning into more of a gold wash that's going everywhere. Might be able to see it if I do that. Yes, of course I said might, but yeah, this camera doesn't want to put it over there, maybe. fine. This one. Dry out a bit. Gun metal. It's been a while since I've had to use my teeth on something. It's this one I need it for. sounding decidedly 70s jazz. Yeah. There's little bits in this one that are supposedly metal as well. That's why I can't find it. It's obvious. Go back over there and dry. Let me see anywhere I'd use gunmetal on that one. So yeah, if you've been watching YouTube, you might remember this guy. I can get him to stand up now all of a sudden. Doesn't want to stand up.
Isn't that typical?
And you may remember I was having trouble with that I was having trouble with the claws, actually.
Real typical.
Let me try and get the lighting right here. Nothing's working today. There we go. So yeah, You'd have probably been watching me glue this guy. I mean, I don't know what is wrong with my camera today. I'm going to try something because it is so horribly pixelated. Okay. Auto that one. Not dealing, let me deal with focus. So get rid of the grain. Too much contrast. There we go. That's about right. So I'm going to see if that helps. It's looking a little better. You can see stuff now, I guess. So yeah, you can at least see the spikes on the drill now, which is better than earlier. But yeah, you may remember I was having a lot of trouble getting this to stick together. This snapped a couple of times, so this is actually a spare one. I've had to use green stuff to reinforce it because it just kept falling off no matter what we did with it. And that's the problem with resin, unfortunately, is the glues don't like to adhere to them, even sometimes when you have a super glue activator. So yeah, we overcame that a bit. I ended up using a little bit of epoxy resin in the end, to be honest. It was the only way to hold it in, and not a lot either. I'm still not confident in this cable. It snapped twice here. So that's being held in.
Yep, almost fine though.
Right, and that's because this is solid resin. This one's from Forge World. This is the one that's going to be going on here. And it's going to balance like that. Sorry, the camera is a bit rubbish with its zoom. But yeah, it's going to be... I mean, you can see there's a gap in the sand just here, where this toe goes. That's where I'll be gluing it later. And then when I've finished painting at least some of this, I'll probably get the spray gun on it. I've got an air gun for the job, you see. I will start weathering the feet where it's walking over the ruins. And then we've got this base. And that's for this guy. He hasn't got his arms on yet because I want to paint those separately. He was easier to glue together, sort of. He's actually the one you will see a video of at the moment on YouTube. First of all, I glued his chassis on upside down in the video. That has been corrected. It's now the right way up. Now with plastics, I do like to use this. It's called Revel Contactor. And the reason I like to use this is you've got time to maneuver things if things go wrong, like an upside down chassis. I can't get it to balance now. Doesn't like to work so well with resin. You actually need a super glue activator for it. How was it I had him? I remember how I had him now. He's supposed to be walking on the ruins somehow, but I can't remember how. Is it like that? It doesn't help that I've got a fan constantly blowing him over. I think it might be like that. So, yeah. We'll see. I'll probably be fiddling with him, but that's how he's going to balance with the fan blowing him at the minute. So, yeah, that's his. The thing I really didn't like with this one, I mean, there was actually two things. First of all, Games Workshop have made these models needlessly fiddly. There is a lot of tiny parts that are completely unnecessary. You don't need them to be so tiny. I mean, the feet, for example, they're in 3 pieces. Forge World does them in 1. The guns, 6 pieces. I mean, these tiny little guns that are barely bigger than my fingernail here. 6 pieces. Parts of this leg, 6 or 7 pieces. Again, with Forge World, these were all 1 piece. All you had to do was remove mould lines. And then glue it together. This one has got so much glue that I've had to hold it together with. And thankfully, you can't notice a lot of it. As you'll notice in the video, I do actually spend a lot of time cleaning up glue on these. But my fingers actually hurt putting this together. Now, if someone with arthritis, be it an immune disorder or a disability or whatever, problems with their hands, they're not going to stand a chance gluing these together because there is so many unnecessary small pieces, and that's what I hated about it. But with this one, even though it was trickier to glue because of the resin and super glue not liking resin, most of the big pieces were in 1 piece. So the legs, 1 piece mostly, well, but the 4 pieces in total for this whole leg. That's the foot, top bit, bottom bit, knee. I don't even want to tell you how many pieces the GW version was in. But that's not the worst of it. It's these. GW have tried to go IKEA. I mean, you can't really see it very well on my camera because my camera seems to be just not playing ball tonight. There are so many pieces that are, again, unnecessary on it. And you can't, because it's in black and white, and it's really bad black and white. I mean, you can probably see as well as I can, actually. It's only a little bit clearer for me than it is for you on that camera. Some of these smaller pieces. Let's see if I can find them. Here. This is one of the pieces for the lower part, right here. For essentially this bit. Forge World did that in one piece. This is in 5 pieces for the GW one. And we're talking things tinier than this paintbrush nib. So tiny. And you'll see in the videos when I've put it together that on one occasion, one of these tiny bits decides to go flying. It took me 3 hours to find that tiny thing. And they are so tiny that the snips can accidentally cut them. These are unnecessary. I mean, we're in the age of 3D printing. If Forge World can do this, and I mean, look at it. That's it. That's your instructions. Simple. Really, really simple. You can see here they're showing you it's in 2 pieces. Same leg piece. GW, 5 pieces. Completely unnecessary, overcomplicated. The only pieces that really should be interchangeable are the guns, and even they can be done in 1 piece. And the insignia for the unit that the units are from, basically. You know, be it Dark Angels, Imperial Guard, Space Marines, etc. And that can be done on these. Sell some of these separately, like Forge World do. And here, Forge World, this is a Dark Angels one. I don't know really if you can see the detail, but it's got insignias here, here.
And on the knees.
On his knees. Right? So he's not plain like the GW one. The GW one want you to buy annoying little stickers that never like to stay on.
Adhesives.
They call them adhesives. And what they really are is water transfers that we use as kids as tattoos. And you've got to try and get these to stay stuck on your now forever painted thing. And it's a right nightmare, quite frankly. Ah, here we are, speaking of the guns in multiple pieces. This gun is in 5 parts. Why? Why? I mean, the barrels themselves, why? Each barrel is a half barrel. You have to glue the barrels on. Oh, and here we've got half a shoulder pad. So I've still got bits that I need to glue together to put the guns on. Because we've got our Siege one from Forge World. Now I just need our GW one together. Then I'm going to go find the adhesives from Dark Angels. That's going to be fun. But, you know, some of these shenanigans that turn a profit are the very reason Games the Workshop, I hate to tell you, is why your population of modelling collectors and so on dropped. You refuse to update your practices, and when you do update them, it's like, oh well, you know, we're going to write a whole new codex for them. Why? Not necessary. Okay? I remember when you experimented with resin back in 2008. We got more bubbles than we got model. And at the very least have someone quality check. And at the very least, someone at the top in GW, I want you to try and assemble your own models. Especially the Dreadnoughts. And I mean in their current state. So you can see what I mean about some of these pieces being a bit unnecessary. And don't get me wrong, just because I'm, you know, being a bit critical here, doesn't mean I hate you. If I hated you, I wouldn't get your stuff. But these shenanigans are why people are leaving the hobby. And, you know, it's a sad state. They shouldn't have to leave the hobby. And they are leaving the hobby because they're feeling ripped off. I mean, if there was ever shrinkflation, GW are usually the first in line. Almost always. Less models, spend more, and then they try to give you more. Less is more as an excuse. No. 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 I will never buy that. All you need is someone to quality check and a bit of TLC into your products and maybe reasonably price things. I mean, come on. We've gone from the days when I was a kid where I got maybe £10 pocket money a week from my parents, and I was able to walk in and buy at least a few units of my wood elves that I used to collect. Yeah, you've taken that away from me now as well, haven't you? Thanks. So it's gone to the point now where, you know, with some £10 pocket money, say, a kid can no longer go in and get a model. Why? Because you're making them about 30, 40 quid for some plastic. Plastic we know and can tell aren't worth the amount of money you're charging us. And it's sad. Very sad state of things. I mean, this thing, I think, dreadnoughts are about, I think, £49 on their own. I think. I'll have to double check the website. If Ojin doesn't do it for me.
Is that GW one or Forge?
GW one. I know the Forge World one's about 40 odd quid.
Forge World one altogether is £93.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a friend of ours got these for us and asked me to paint them for Gosh on stream and video, so that's why you're seeing me do them. So yeah, I didn't buy these. These have been given to me.
£50.
So there we go. Right. This one from Games Workshop, 50 quid. And we spend more time breaking our knuckles trying to assemble it and chasing down pieces that have gone flying because the sprue is thicker than the piece. And oh, that's another grief I have with it. I mentioned it in the video with my robo voice. It's a bit too easy to make a mistake based on your instructions. Far too easy. And for a £50 model, you'd expect better instructions. Much better, much clearer. At least bigger pictures. And I would advise you do them in colour, not just black and white like that. Simply because the colour gives them different shades that makes it easier to identify the pieces, especially when the pieces need a microscope to identify, and the sprues themselves have been so poorly printed they don't have the numbers on. That was my main beef with the sprue for this one, is I have the letter to the sprue, and then it's like you have your numbers on the sprues, like 1, 2, 3, 4, so you like C4 or C8 and so on. No one was a 4, sorry. And you go looking for them, and the number's missing. Then you have to try and get into a scientific mindset of trying to work out which numbers you've got and which numbers correspond to the micro images that you've given us. I mean, even if I was to get a magnifying glass on the instructions you guys have given us, I still wouldn't be able to discern which is what, because there's not enough detail. Because it's like you put it in the photocopier and then copied the photocopier's 700th copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. So that's an area you could also improve on. Again, don't take me being critical as meaning I hate your stuff, because that's not the case. I'm critical of it because I want to see you improve it. I want to see you get better. I want to see more people back in the hobby. I understand you're a business and that you need to make money, but at least do it in a way that's going to attract people to want to buy stuff, thus make you money. Happy customers equals money. Where I put all the spare parts now. There's cable. Maybe. I need to glue that one in a minute and start doing all the sand and stuff I want to do on it. These two are done so I can get around to washing them. They can go there for now. Oh no, these are resin. I'll forget that. I'll use army painter's glue. Oh, okay. Where is it? Yep. Take that glue cap off. Unfortunately, I've run out of activator. Hopefully. I'll be able to leave it still enough for it to do its thing. If I don't get it on my finger. Yes, you saw me put those huge lumps of glue on there on purpose. Want to look like they're buried in sand. See? Buried in sand, look. And I get my unused sand back. Magic. Need to put some more sand on here anyway. Oh, right. Is oh, now I've got a Christmas sounding song. How weird. This is coming along quite nicely, actually. Seriously, fly, go away. Shoo, shoo, shoo. Stop getting high on street fumes. Silly fly. Reason there's that little gap on my thing. I'm just gonna put the sound back in here, and then I'm gonna have a look at that music. Definitely gonna need some more modelling sounds soon. No, less Christmassy. Much less Christmassy. That's not what I wanted it to do. tell you now, this glue smells like pear drops.
I did say that. Smell that from here.
Old brush. You can see the base come away with this now. And that's fine. Still need to spread this regardless. Where's my... I'm dropping the water now. Here we go. The brushes out the way. Gone from a whole jar doing this project to just that of sand now. See on this why I don't like using my fingers on it. Sticks to everything. Horrible stuff. Iron filings. I have to get the USB vacuum out on my keyboard now because that grass has gotten everywhere. So yep, that's it for tonight, folks. Can't really do much more tonight. You can now see the two bases nearly finished. We'll wait for the glue to dry before I can do anything else with them now, and that's going to take about 24 hours. So.
Smelling like pear drops.
Smells like pear drops. I'm feeling a bit, hate to say this, high on fumes, despite the fact I've got good ventilation in here, but then again I am in close proximity of it. It's good to know your limits. It's really not good to be high on glue fumes, to be honest. So yeah, I might pick up this again on another stream, or might carry on with a little bit of it here and there in video, so there's some video exclusive as well. We'll see how it goes.